Hello, I'm Chylli from channel Chylli, also known as Chai, and we are back with more Lobotomy Corporation. I actually changed my headset, so my sound quality is completely different. Or rather, my volume mixer is messed up now, so I need to reset all of my volume options. So it might be a little bit loud sometimes while I try to figure this out really quickly. Alright, so we are back and we are going to try to do Chesed's core suppression again. Alrighty, let's see what we want to work on right now. Give me a minute, I need to look something up really quickly. Alright, so all we need to do is reach one more level. Okay, that was a little difficult, but we finally got it now. Well, you're kidding. People here don't drink coffee in the morning? There's no better way to get energized than drinking a fresh cup of coffee before you start the day, man. What's with the look on your faces? You weren't expecting me to show up like this, were you? Isn't this a shame? I wasn't expecting some massive welcome party, but I didn't think you guys would be so heartless. Well, of course I understand. You're all probably wondering why a talented man such as myself applied to join such a shabby company. It's totally suspicious and nonsensical, I get ya. Well, everyone has their own agenda. The Yore, I think I heard about you from Carmen. Speaking of which, it was Carmen's speech that really brought me here. Where is she now? So you came, Sir Coffee Addict. Miss, it's Daniel. You can sit down here. The person that sits next to you will explain the details of your work. Was so you knew I was coming? I told you, no matter how great you may be, you will always be in the palm of my hand. Geez, I thought you were being sarcastic. May I request one thing before I join you officially? Could we get a coffee machine here? I want everyone to know how good true freshly brewed coffee is. Daniel grabbed everyone's attention with his fancy suit that didn't fit in here at all. I vaguely remembered Carmen had told me about him a few days prior. That one of the elites was stopped by to apply to her company. He's a bit pompous, so don't believe everything he says, she said to me. I asked how she was able to recruit such an elite. Carmen answered nonchalantly and as if I had asked about something trivial. I'm a master at blowing people's minds. Don't you know that by now? Turns out that a revolution doesn't always have to be accomplished with bloodshed or with the bearing of flags, manager. I've waited a long time for a savior, someone who could free me from my inertia and wake me up inside. Why did I never come to the realization that I myself could be my own savior? Would you be so kind as to remember my mistake? It's very valuable to me. I hope your own pathetic little rebellion taught you a few things. Do you still not understand the reason why I didn't stop you? I'm referring to the real reason why I washed you without immediately putting you through the replacement process like Tifaref. I wanted you to engrave your lesson into that metal body, but your trifling resistance ended up costing the lives of your poor little employees who trusted you until the end. I know the word death means nothing to you now, but to them it held meaning. That's weird, Lady Angela. Since when did you start caring about the deaths of our employees? That's rich gunning from the one who would gladly force a containment unit open just to garner a little more energy, isn't it? Yet here I was, clumsily going with your flow as I assisted you. However, don't go thinking that this was entirely my loss. I know now that you don't really care about our condition. I know now that you weren't the one I should have been obeying. It's obvious that you should obey our manager and not me, Chesed. There's no need to state it out loud. You clearly know what I mean. I'm not going to let you do whatever you want now. You're such a loser, in the past and even now. Yes, I'm a failure. You don't have to point it out to me, but thanks anyway. However, although you may want to believe that nothing has changed, it is in fact that many things are changing. It rests on you now to resolve the mess you made, Chesed. Let's, as they say, bury the hatchet with any hard feelings between us. There is one thing I want you to know, though. No matter how great you may be, you will always be in the palm of my hand. I'm still afraid, manager. I'm still unsure if I can truly fight back against the fear I may face in the future, but I've decided not to run away at the very least. So what are my orders, manager? Those who are faithful and trustworthy, 70% germination of the seed of light. My data and analysis are now lacking in some degrees, as this is the first time we've reached this point. Everything from here on out is a mystery. I know I'm not in a position to dare predict the outcome of your endeavors, but your task is not an impossible one. There is a real distinction between impossible and 0% possibility. Us machines say that when something will never happen after taking every possibility in consideration, it has a 0% possibility. Thus, my vision of you succeeding through every tribulation in the future is not impossible, but rather has a 0% possibility. However, I won't be disappointed if you fail. I am a machine after all. Even if the sandcastle you've built up crumbles yet again, I'll be able to put up with it as if nothing ever happened. Your scenario is reaching an end soon. Just do as you've done before. Although the energy you've collected will not be supplied to the outside, that doesn't mean your work was for nothing, or that this place no longer serves a purpose. My goal, are you finally asking me now, after all this time, of course, is the same as yours. The conclusion of the script we have. If not, I wouldn't have a reason to go through all the trouble just to help you. The idea that I am sitting at the bottom oblivious to what is happening up there, and is an idea you might think of as true. However, it is in truth the you who is unknowing. Pain, agony, regret, and the shadows of the past that would never release their grip on you. They spent quite a number of days with you, but it is nothing compared to our time together. In the end, they never got to know you to the fullest. Those who could not accept their fate seem to have directed their anger toward you. Such as that one man who gradually broke himself whenever he was ordered to redact information. The unnecessary leakage of emotion is unfavorable. There's something I need to show you so you can understand. There was once an employee named Anya. She lived with her parents and her little sister. She eagerly wanted to study, but her family's financial state wouldn't allow her. Still, she tried to join one of the wings. However, she just wasn't good enough for them. Poor Anya was struggling to figure out what to do next. She even considered ending it all as a last resort. That was until she received a letter from a wing. A letter that had a simple yet magical line penned to it. You are qualified to join Lobotomy Corporation. Awestruck, Anya read through the letter over and over again. It didn't seem like anyone was pulling a prank on her, nor that it was a mistake on the mail courier's part. For a brief moment, Anya wondered if she even applied to work at Lobotomy Corporation at all, but she soon shook that thought off. That was not important in the slightest. I took the role of the courier. I was the one who delivered the letters to people. I evaluate candidates to determine if they may join here or not and bring a miracle to those who are qualified. Anya was not selected because she had excellent skill. She had a common trait that every person we hired had, but wasn't aware of. As you know, to become a feather, a part of the wing, one has to be immensely better than ordinary people. How could Anya, who dropped out of high school, had no special talents, and lived in the backstreets, manage to get into her company? Would her family finally be able to pursue happiness? All of this happened 10 years ago. During those 10 years, her sister fell ill and passed away along with her parents. Where is Anya now with her entire family gone? She is asleep down here. It is wholly under my jurisdiction to handle this, but I'll grant you access just this once. Call her up, please. Now Anya is at work, feeling as though she is a brand new employee who just joined the company, completely oblivious to the fact that it has been 10 years since she actually joined us. You could perhaps choose to pay a small cost to augment her virtues such as fortitude or prudence if you wish. Now try to erase her, please. How do you feel? The Anya who was killed by a monster and that Anya whom you just erased are one and the same. They are both evanescently lost their lives. It is such a futile action to wake them and erase them to slumber again and again. Both your attachment to the employees and the Sephiroth's care and devotion poured into them became meaningless here. Everything that moves and is alive in this facility is on pause. They await the next morning with their eyes shut tight every night. Those of the layer above do not know that they themselves spent emotionally on the deaths with which they were presented. Bearing obscure resentment in their hearts, they put all the blame on those like you. Then they crumbled just like that. I urge you not to worry about me. I will not dare to do such a thing. I have always wanted to be an important part of your life. You told me to sacrifice all your body without hesitation. Would you have made the same choice if you knew that we would end up like this? I always ask myself that. This isn't no man's land, this place of silence. Most employees that visit and stay here lose their mind and embrace oblivion. It has been a long while since I had a proper conversation with someone. Maybe you were confused with the idea that I'm the only resident here, but there is in fact a companion of mine that passes the eternity with me. Let me introduce her to you. You created the bucket by reconstructing, dividing, and proliferating Carmen's body. And you managed to extract Cogito, the so-called fluid of life and death. At first, only a small dose could be extracted, but enigmatically, that fluid started to gush out infinitely and now has formed a pool. Can you see her? She's watching us from underneath the spring. When everything becomes too burdening, I quietly stare into the bottom. I feel as if she and I were the only two in the world when I do so. Sometimes it feels like she's talking to me, even though all that's left of her is just an amalgamation of flesh, brain, neurons, and unknown tentacles drifting beneath the spring. Someone injected herself with cogito following your own principles, and someone else went mad for witnessing what happened. Another gave up his own body and fell into a state of limbo, unable to live or die. And the one that couldn't persevere herself throughout all this ended up confessing everything to the head. This is the collaboration of despair that you and her created. You still aren't qualified to look toward the bottom of the spring. To do so, you must look directly toward the path you travel. Do you seek redemption, or do you seek to redeem me along with all the others that are trapped here? Whatever it is, maybe you think that saving the facility from sin as you have planned will fix everything for you. Just think for a moment, even you, who hasn't left this facility for such a long time. You should be aware that people are hopelessly being killed by abnormalities in other branches even as we speak, and it's not just them. All the wings have their own painful stories repeating perpetually. In the nests, in the back streets, in the ruins, in the outskirts, a pain much greater than what you have seen here prevails in the world. I've observed everything consciously, for I didn't obsess myself with an unreachable ideal to lock myself up in a cramped room like you. The world you looked up at and the one I looked down upon are that much different. You captured me alive and tortured me to your heart's content, but still we're sunken in despair. And soon someone will replace me as one of the arbiters of the head, swinging their claws at people like you. Even if you were to break the cycle somehow, it would be a perfectly, completely useless affair. Broken wings will outstretch anew. The brief resistance will be forgotten soon, and people will continue living. Not for a purpose nor a dream, but rather simply because they cannot die. You may think that you've brought me down, yet as you can see, I'm still at the peak, looking down upon you lot while you writhe like insects. I eagerly wait for the moment you fall into despair after realizing that this cycle of pain will never end. I want to see you kneel before the might of destiny, resigning yourself to fate. Go on, slowly, despair and succumb to your fate. Try to resist to the very end and ultimately break yourself as the last bits of your resistance melt away. We shall be the subterranean water that quietly flows beneath the earth. She was mortally wounded by Chylli, but she was our only way out. It was a miracle that we captured her alive. We were too far down the road, filled with remorse and regret, to feel any sort of guilt. How to avoid the head's pursuit, the means to join the ranks of the wings, and the way for us, the few, to survive. It was impossible to figure those out on her own. She was hardly breathing, but her encephalon was still active. That was all we needed. We probed through her head like we did to Carmen. We searched for the way out. After that, we arduously gathered up every single bit of those deformed pieces. The sentinel who guards the gates of hell must always be in despair. Such despair that they cannot even fall into the depths of hell. Alright, and now I think we can do Binah's core suppression. Okay, so this is really not going very well. Yeah, it's just kind of you could just gotta hope the rabbit teams can handle her. Okay, that is entirely my bad for forgetting to take my guy out of the shelter. Actually, you know what? I'm going to end this video here and immediately start the next one, so... yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it off for today's video. If you made it this far, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time when we probably have an entire video focused on doing Binah's core suppression. So yeah, until then, I'll see you next time. Bye!